Okay. Hello. Thanks so much for popping in with us tonight. My name is Lauren, and I am an Alumni Engagement Officer in the Office of Alumni Engagement and Giving at Point Park. I am also a 2011 graduate of the university and have been in my current role for about 3 years. In my position as an engagement officer, my focus areas are the Conservatory of Performing Arts, managing the university scholarship program, and most importantly for this conversation, the Rowland School of Business. On behalf of the entire team in the Alumni Engagement Office, we want to extend our sincere appreciation and thanks for your support and dedication to the university and especially the Rowland School of Business during this time. I'm excited to have all of you with us today. And I'm even more excited to introduce Steve Tanzilli, Dean of the Rowland School of Business. Many of you, if not most of you tuning in, are familiar with Steve, but for those of you who aren't, I want to give a little bit of background before I turn it over to him. So Steve Tanzilli serves the Rowland School of Business and faculty to ensure the students are workplace ready. He consistently works to create mutually beneficial partnerships with the corporate community, which you'll hear about soon, and is taking all of the necessary steps to continue to transform the Rowland School of Business into a true learning laboratory for the university's students, alumni, and business community. As Dean, Steve's main focus areas include connecting students to the industry while delivering innovative classes and continually assessing academic offerings. His overall goal is to provide students with the practical skill sets they need to be successful, not just in the professional arena, but in life. He is an active member of the downtown community, serving as the board member with many organizations, including the Western Pennsylvania Veterans Academic Alliance, Pittsburgh Veterans Employment Coalition, Sports Pittsburgh, Esports Task Force, and those are just to name a few. I could go on and on and on about how amazing Steve is and everything that he does.
Please don't.
I'm going to turn it over to him. So without further ado, I'm Steve. It's your show.
All right. Well, thank you, Lauren. And it is hard because I'm really eager to know who's out there. So hello to everybody. What I thought I would do is I just have some updates I want to provide. Please feel free to chime in some questions. I think Lauren will pull those and we'll go through them. But wanted to kind of give you an update on the business school, update on campus, and just talk about the great work that our team has done through these really incredibly challenging times. First of all, COVID, I'm happy to report that we are just completed week 6, if you can believe it. So we were talking today about midterm grades and getting ready for, seeing the end of the term in sight. So things are going well. I mean, we are offering all of our classes on ground. They all have remote options, but right now all of our classes have a ground option. And the reasoning for that is when we surveyed our students over the summer, 75% of them said they wanted to return to campus in some form or fashion. So whether they wanted all of their classes ground or 1 or 2, that was up to them, but we honored their request, and faculty and staff have done an amazing job of keeping things going. So it is great to walk around campus and see some students, see all of our faculty, and so that's some great news to report, and it's certainly a tremendous team effort. So things are moving on. We're through week 6 and we're heading down the home stretch for the remainder of the term. The academic calendar is going to be a little bit different this year. At Thanksgiving, we will cease on-ground classes and move everything into the remote format for those final 2.5 weeks. But things are well there. I wanted to just make a note on the accreditation side. So those of you may or may not know, our accrediting body is IACBE. We were one of the founding members of that accrediting body. And it's an accrediting body that does give credence to professional industry experience, which of course, is our hallmark. We have to undergo what's called a self-study every 7 years to keep our accreditation, to make sure that we can continue to bestow degrees. And the good news with that is that we had our virtual site visit a week and a half ago. It went very well. and we will move forward fully anticipating that we will be what they call reaffirmed come the December board meeting with our accreditors. So it's every 7 years, and faculty and staff, we've spent the last 2 years preparing. And we worked hard to make sure that our curriculum aligned with the accrediting body. We made sure that our learning outcomes and objectives were properly documented. And we just had a great couple days of a virtual site visit where we had our students speaking to the accreditors. We had many members of the community sharing their thoughts on the business school. We had administration, we had staff, and overall it was just a great success for all of us. And once again, it was a 2-year heavy lift that we undertook to try to get on the other side of accrediting. So that's another piece of good news. So what I thought I would do is just kind of run through the litany of what I'm calling success stories during COVID. I have said this to my team, that I really do think that there are going to be winners and losers coming out of COVID. And I wanted to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to be a winner. And I think we've certainly done that. So one of the first things that I'm really proud of is something called the V3 Challenge. The V3 Challenge is a Shark Tank style contest. We have an alum that has donated $10,000 to the school to help us run this contest. We looked for submissions all summer. We closed our submissions at the end of September. We have just around 20 submissions, and the goal is to award a group $10,000 early December. And unlike the traditional Shark Tank formula, we are more interested in the individual's story. So while we're looking at profit and loss, while we're looking at the potential of growth, and certainly looking at the opportunity for economic development and jobs with these submissions, what was most important to our judges as we evaluate these is the story, right? What kind of a difference can this $10,000 make in their community? What kind of a difference can the $10,000 make, to make their lives better? And most importantly, get our students engaged. So the V3 Challenge, we will be announcing the winner of the $10,000 on December 3rd in the business school. So for me, that was a great opportunity to really try to show that we are doing what we can to make Pittsburgh better. It's a great opportunity for our students to get involved with real companies. So what I've told the people that have submitted is that while there will only be one winner, right? Only one group will win the 10,000. The hope is that every submission gets the support of our students. So perhaps somebody needs a website or somebody needs help with a business plan. We're going to quickly work to integrate those submissions into our classes. So that was courtesy of an alum, and we're very proud to move forward with the V3 Challenge. And there's more information on v3challenge.com if you wanted to kind of follow what we're doing. Another piece of good news, and got some really good news today, is Huntington Bank, who's been a great supporter of ours. They're very concerned about the remote connectivity issues that many of our students face. And so we were able to secure a $10,000 grant to help students that are in need with connectivity issues. So today we were able to secure about 20 iPads that we will be providing to students that have submitted kind of a scholarship essay indicating their needs, and they'll actually be arriving on campus on Wednesday. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. In time to try to help them get through the remainder of the semester.
That's awesome.
And Huntington's been great. Huntington, we have an internship, we have a co-op, and we have a scholarship with them. And when everything went haywire in March, they agreed to honor their internship for the spring, and then they honored the paid internship for the summer, even though everything moved remote and it was, not the easiest of circumstances. But Huntington Bank has been just a great partner of ours, and Kim Ravenda and Susan Shipley, their Pittsburgh president, been a big supporter of what we're doing. So we're happy to be distributing some iPads, hopefully as early as mid to next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. Couple other things. We've revamped our Women in Industry series. If you go to acceleratingwin.org, or you can go to the Roland School of Business website and just put in Women in Industry. This was a series that we started a few years ago, and I had it running the last Wednesday of every month, and I had a female executive come in and talk about the keys to success. And it wasn't, for those that participated, you remember, it wasn't all about how do you get a job at company X or what are they going to ask you in an interview. I wanted the conversations to be a little bit more real and raw. And if you recall, we had some really good conversations about work-life balance, about, I'm a female executive and I don't want a family, or I have a family, but I'm going to be traveling so much, I'm afraid I may not see much of them. Those kind of conversations. And it's really took off and our students really resonated with it. And it was important for me to do it because over 60% of the business school students are female. And it was something that they had asked me to do. I'm really happy to report that Sandy Mervosh and Doreen Saletti and Patrick Mulvihill have taken it off my plate and have brought it to the next level, where they have a dedicated series, podcast style, every Wednesday. We have a revamped website, and we're bringing in speakers from all over the country to talk to our students for a good hour and a half each week. Another thing we've done with this website is we're trying to have it be a resource area. So we're uploading articles and journals on everything that can help women in particular be successful. So, if there's an article that you see or something that you think our students should read as it relates to, females trying to climb that corporate ladder, please send it to us. If there's a speaker that that you think would really resonate with our students, please send it to us, and we'd love to try to schedule these podcasts. Once again, they're running every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Another thing we've done is we've revamped our Roland School of Business podcast. We were able to get a nice $10,000 grant from a local business owner who is he's just a super guy, good friend of mine. And I was engaging with him in the middle of this pandemic, just talking about, how much town has changed, and Pittsburgh was just on the cusp of, I think, really becoming one of America's finest, most dynamic cities. And then this hit. And if you've been to town, you know what I'm talking about. And so talking to this gentleman, I said, we have this podcast. We really would like some funding. And the podcast is all geared toward trying to help Pittsburgh, trying to help downtown businesses survive this pandemic. So we're doing podcasts on about a weekly basis. And it's everything from, you have a small business, you got to go online. You have to have an online footprint. How do you do that? We've had conversations about the legalities of COVID. We've had several podcasts on the hospitality industry. Where is it going? What are the new trends? How do you survive? So once again, take a look at that. That's on our website. It's purposeful-leadership.org, purposeful-leadership.org, or once again, you can Google the Roland School of Business website, and you'll see the podcasts listed there. And, if you have somebody or a topic that you think would resonate with the downtown Pittsburgh community, please let us know as we continue to, once again, provide that free of charge to everybody downtown. And we're pushing that out through various channels. There are 9,000 folks that live downtown, so they get this alert every week. And then, of course, all the local businesses. And Patrick Mulvihill and his team have done a great job. And now that we have some funding, we've been able to make these a lot more professional. So that's a good
amazing.
one.
That's amazing. Yeah. Whenever, what I can do, because we actually got a question in about
because I'll just keep talking.
Yeah.
If I can't see anybody.
It's okay. It's so amazing. I think we're all just absorbing all the information. We did get a question in about the Women in Industry series. And the alumni, her name is Rochelle. She's wondering if the podcast for the Women in Industry, if they're exclusive to students or can alumni listen as well?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually get this to be external, right? I mean, it's absolutely direct benefit to students, but I'm really hoping that people in Pittsburgh pick it up. So alums for sure. It's open, and we strongly encourage that. So feel free to email me if you need any questions, and I'll make sure that whoever wants to have it on their calendar, we can put it into your Outlook. But yes, absolutely. I'm trying to build the brand that our business school is not just meant for our students, but it's meant to try to bring positive change to downtown Pittsburgh and beyond.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. We'd love for more people to join us.
Amazing. Yeah, I think we shared a couple of them on our Facebook page, but whenever we, after this event for everyone that's tuning in, I'll send a recap email with some of the links that Steve is referring to. So the podcast link, the women in industry information, just so you have kind of a point of reference, because I know it's hard to jot them all down at the same time. Also, while we're taking a break, Steve, I think you actually now have access to see who is listening in. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you can click the participants. So now you can actually see who is listening to what you're saying. And while I'm speaking, if anyone has any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Wow. How's Vegas? Oh, maybe Charlotte's muted, so I guess that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all muted. But maybe she could put in the quote. She said Vegas is awesome.
Good.
As I'm sure we can all imagine. So
good.
I'll let you continue on.
Yeah, and I see Colton. We should talk to make sure that our stuff is flowing through your office as well. And it's great to see. I know Amber, of course. So good to see you guys. Or here. Yeah, good.
Be in the same space.
Yeah,
I
right.
guess.
Be in the same
virtual space.
So a couple of other things that I do want to highlight. We have this opportunity with the Commonwealth. It's a campaign we're working on called Drive PA. So it's coming out of Governor Wolf's office, and it's all focused on trying to jumpstart tourism in the Commonwealth. And so the agency that's been hired by the state has reached out to the business school to have us try to help them build various campaigns throughout the Commonwealth. Once again, I'll gear toward trying to encourage folks to get out and in a socially distant, respectful way, travel the state. So we're working on development of websites and apps and direct mail campaigns to try to push all of the incredible resources, in Pennsylvania. So whether it's hiking or, going to, the water or bed and breakfasts, our students are heavily involved with leveraging this campaign. And once again, it's kind of that real world experience. And with that, an offshoot of it is we're going to be working on a podcast with them as well. And these are things that'll touch all corners of Pennsylvania, and our students will produce it. And then we're out there also trying to help drive sponsorship for it. Amazing. And then market it as well. And so that's something that we're doing that I'm proud of, because it's hopefully making a much broader difference, in the state. I'll speak briefly about our Sales and Innovation Lab. In the lobby of West Penn, if you can visualize, when you walk in, you have your back to the elevators, and there are those kind of far pillars. Hopefully, starting in May, we're going to break ground on a 1,200 square foot sales and innovation lab. That'll be kind of the anchor to everything we've been trying to build. So in this 1,200 square foot space, we're going to have a professional conference room. And that's important because when we've spoken to our students, many of them have said, man, the first time I walked into a conference room was my job interview, and I was terrified. Those that remember career prep, we would do them in a classroom, or, we'd do them in a faculty office. And so having somewhat of an intimidating conference room, I think will be good for us. We're also going to have 3 individual breakout rooms, so enough space for an interview or an interviewee, and it's all going to have video and audio capture so that we can have our students do role play, do negotiating, and then we can record that and then go in and make comments, I guess via the cloud, and share with the students. And then we'll have a multi-purpose space where the tables, chairs, right on everything is going to be utilized as well. So why I say that's going to kind of hook everything together is because that space is going to be used for career prep. It's going to be used for our women in industry, because our female students have told me, Steve, the biggest thing that I need to help role playing or negotiating. It's going to be used for all of our veterans initiatives. We have a great partnership with Pittsburgh Hires Vets. It's an external group. They have office space in the business school, and they come on our campus and help mentor veterans and help them find jobs. So we're going to use that space for that. We have a new sales and marketing major. So you can't really have a good sales and marketing major without a sales lab. And then most importantly for me is we're going to use this as an external resource. So we're going to look to try to drive revenue by renting out the space. And we've built this, it took a year to just kind of come up with the schematics, because we spoke to everyone and anyone that we could that does sales training and asked them, what kind of technology, what kind of space, what would it take for you to pay to use this? And so I think we have something that we can be really proud of. And in December 3rd, when we give the $10,000 V3 check, we're also going to announce a very large gift that'll help get us more than halfway home in building this out. That's so amazing. If all goes right with COVID, everything, break ground in May, hopefully it'll be open September of 21. So that's something that,
that'll be here before you know it.
Well, for sure.
I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, that'll be here before you know it.
Yep. And then our final thing I'll just throw out there is this Cooper Gibson concept that, where was I? I was driving. So my son knows you, if you know me, you're gonna, Owen is now 16. Owen is now driving. Owen now has a car. And those of you I can see on this list remember Owen from being a little person. But Owen and I took a little trip to Florida to pick up Grandma's car.
That's right. Okay.
And on the way back, I think we were in Georgia, and got a great phone call from two folks, a guy named Chuck Cooper, Sean Gibson, and Bob Durda. Mm-hmm. And Chuck Cooper's father was the first African-American drafted into the NBA, and he was the first African-American all-rookie team. And then Sean Gibson's great grandfather was Josh Gibson, Negro League Baseball Hall of Famer.
Wow.
So both of them are from Pittsburgh, and both have run separate foundations for years. So Chuck Cooper has been focused on graduate work. Chuck Cooper, right after he played in the NBA, went and got an MBA. And back then, less than like 8% of Blacks got graduate degrees. And so he was so taken by that he always was committed to trying to help folks get into graduate school.
That's amazing.
We've worked with the Chuck Cooper Foundation for a few years on graduate scholarships, because those of you that have gone to graduate school, there really aren't any, right?
Right.
And so we've done some good work with Chuck and been able to generate some scholarships for some of our grad students. So Chuck Cooper was focused on graduate work, and then Sean Gibson, the Josh Gibson Foundation, was focused on middle school, high school, trying to promote STEM classes.
Oh, okay.
And so on this drive, we decided, why the heck don't these come together? And so we're looking to bring them under the School of Business, umbrella. And we want to call it the Chuck Cooper, Josh Gibson Center for Social Equity and Education.
Wow.
Bring in on social justice and, and home ownership, and, why are Blacks paid at a, really disproportionate rate than whites?
Right.
And, why are they struggling to secure homes and have those conversations, be mentors to the community, and help instill so many of these important skills. So
Yeah.
hopefully, folks in these disenfranchised communities in Pittsburgh can go on to college.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we'd love it to be Point Park, but I think for us, it's just a bigger discussion to give them the encouragement. So we have the concept, and we're actively out there soliciting to try to get some foundation support so that we can really pilot this for the next year. And
That's
similar to
amazing.
yeah, so we're really excited about that. And, it's time, right? It's particularly what's going on in the world. And,
Right.
I think we should embrace those conversations, not hide from them.
Agreed.
I think we've always believed that, you gotta do it, right? You can't just talk
Mm-hmm.
it, right? So you gotta do it. And Chuck and John are certainly doers. So
That's great.
that's kind of my
So are
list.
you. So that's why you guys get along so well, because you're a
Yeah.
doer too.
Well, thank you.
You
Someday.
are. You are. So we've got we got some great questions. So I'm gonna jump in.
Good.
So I think this is a great segue. This one just came in, but this is a great segue. So thinking big, what is an addition or accomplishment you'd love to see achieved by the Rowland School of Business within the next 5 to 10 years?
I guess I'd love in the next 5, 10 years to, we're really trying to measure success of a few ways. Number one, really trying to measure success, not just on our students graduating 4 years, but are they getting jobs in their chosen field?
Yeah.
So that's one, right? Making sure that our students are walking into employment opportunities and our curriculum, our faculty, and everything we do is aligned with, what's going on, in the world.
Mhm.
Two, really trying hard. I think it's hopefully it's apparent, trying hard to make a difference in the downtown community.
Yeah.
I think it's incumbent upon a business school in a city to be that community partner. So that's something that's important. And never being afraid to have what I always call like non-business school conversations. I don't know how many business schools out there, are doing what we're doing as it relates to women in industry. I don't know how many, have an external veteran group, housed, in our office. I don't know how many business schools are embracing having real, raw, honest conversations about social justice and, and inequality. So those would be my things, making sure that our students are getting jobs in the fields that they are chosen, making
Mhm.
sure that honestly we are making a positive difference in Pittsburgh, and that we're having the conversations that need to be had to move our city forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. So speaking of these initiatives, so you mentioned Pittsburgh hires vets a couple of times. So
Yeah.
can you, I know the story behind this, but maybe not everyone tuning in. Can you kind of speak a little bit about how that partnership was formed and how Pittsburgh hires vets is now a part of our campus community?
Yeah, no, it was about, maybe it was 2 years ago. I was invited to an event on Veterans Day, and Jack Wagner was there. Jack Wagner, former Auditor General for the Commonwealth, Speaker of the head of Pittsburgh City Council. Jack ran for mayor, ran for governor. Was a Marine, just a decorated war hero, incredible individual. And he started a nonprofit called Pittsburgh Hires Vets. And their focus was on trying to get veterans ready for interviews, so resumes, cover letters, those kind of things. Their offices are up on Banksville Road, pretty much across the street from Eaton Park, if you know that area. And I was at this event, and he had a couple vets there who were just talking about the fact that they're really struggling to find work. And their story was so impactful. And I went up to him and I said, how in the world are you guys having trouble finding work? What are you doing? And one of them said, well, I'm spending 3 hours a day on my LinkedIn, and I'm spending 2 hours a day every day on my resume. And I'm like, what are you doing that for? It's so I said, why don't we do this? Why don't we work with you? Why don't we have our faculty help you? Why don't we have our faculty mentor? And more importantly, they were having some trouble connecting to the big swath of veterans that really needed their help, which was in Uptown and the Lower Hill. And so because of our transportation challenges, that's not directed at you, Colton, but because of our transportation challenges, it's hard to get from the Lower Hill or Uptown to Banksville Road. So another thing I'd like to try to do with our campus is use our campus as a convener. Right? It's not about taking credit. It's about let's use our location to leverage opportunities. And so they've come on campus every Monday, and they're able to connect with folks in the Lower Hill and Uptown. And our faculty that actually teach resume and cover letters for a living have helped provide that curriculum. You know, my team has been able to open up the doors to corporations and job opportunities that, you know, they didn't necessarily have conduits with. And the biggest reason why I did it is because I was so frustrated that, and my statistic is close, something like 17% of veterans in Pittsburgh are homeless. You know, I think it's closer to 20% of veterans in Pittsburgh are homeless. And I just think, you know, that's shameful. And it's because they're not finding, you know, opportunities. So what we do with Pittsburgh Hires Vets is they're on campus every Monday. They're on the 12th floor. And they bring in non-Point Park people into our business school, and they mentor these folks, and they use our curriculum. And then we've added the extra layer of personal finance. So we're helping these folks, you know, understand how do you rent an apartment, right? How do you improve your credit score? And then what Pittsburgh Hires Vets has done for our student vet population is they've been able to connect. And I love telling the story that George Scott, who was the Pittsburgh Hires Vet rep, you know, called me from the office. You know, I'm upstairs, and he said, "I got a Marine here, incredible story, just discharged. Do you have a student vet Marine?" And, you know, we grabbed a couple, and they went down, and, you know, they shared stories, and, you know, it was that camaraderie that we have. So, yeah, it's a great partnership. I will tell you, I have paused it this term because of COVID, and
That's
you can imagine, you know, bringing external people on campus. But we hope to get it going in the spring. And then the other thing we do, Lauren, is we do what I call a signature event with them a term. So we did a big career fair last year. We did a big best practice session. So we had companies like that do it really well. PNC, Pitt Ohio Express, they have a tremendous veteran hiring program. So one of the things we did last spring was we brought those companies together without any veterans, those companies together to share best practices to other companies who say, you know, man, we need to know how, we got to hire vets, we just don't know how to do it. So that was really rewarding.
Wow. That's awesome. What a great, and obviously pre-COVID, it was such a nice presence to have on campus to, you know, be, you know, welcoming into the Point Park community and in trying to make a difference. So that's amazing. Next question. So this is going back to the Cooper Gibson Equity Center. So I'll read it exactly as it is. So amazing to hear about the Equity Center. Is there a timeline when you said it would launch, and how can alumni help?
That's a great question. Well, Stephanie's on the call. She knows how this works. It'll launch as soon as I get a contribution. I can tell you that. So essentially, what we've got, you know, if you follow the news, right? And I'm not calling them out for any particular reasons, but they're out there. You know, PNC has committed $1 billion to this cause. Huntington Bank has committed 100+ million. First National Bank has committed 250 million. Right? When this all kind of hit the fan, all these companies jumped and said, we're committing hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, what I'm doing is saying, well, I got a great concept, and I've got two terrific foundations that want to come together. And my gosh, to think little old Pittsburgh has the first African-American drafted in the NBA and arguably one of the greatest baseball players to ever live. So, you know, speaking about, you know, putting your money where your mouth is, you know, come help us. So this will launch as soon as I get enough funding to get us going. And, you know, I hope, honestly, very soon. I feel confident that we've had some pretty good meetings. And I think what we're talking about really does resonate. We're focused on conversations. We're focused on entrepreneurship. We're focused on trying to help, once again, those in disenfranchised communities better themselves. And once again, we want to use our campus, our business schools, that convener to try to connect, to the Lower Hill and Uptown and, in those communities. So how can you help? I think as soon as you hear that hopefully I've been able to do what I'm supposed to do, reach back out, and we'd love to try to figure out a way to get you involved. Everything from speakers to participation to, helping us continue these important conversations.
Awesome. Awesome. So this is kind of a broader question. So this kind of, you talked a lot. I didn't do a lot of talking. You talked a lot about the opportunity.
I get a lot of time.
It's okay.
A lot
it's okay.
to handle.
I feel like that sometimes too, so it feels really good to be like on the other side of things today. So this question is, what opportunities will students or alumni have in all of these new developments and programs that you spoke about?
V3, right? So I think you guys that probably remember, in the capstone class or a business models class, you probably remember making up a company, right? I think it was fictitious. So one of your senior projects would be, I don't know, go create a business and put a marketing plan and business plan together. Why would we do that when we have so many businesses out there that are desperate for some help and guidance? So we scrapped that whole model, and excited that we have real startups. And so the big thing with me with V3 was absolutely giving 10 grand to somebody who's gonna, and some of these submissions are fantastic. They really are. And I look at them, I'm like, oh my God, we're actually gonna make a real difference. Some of them I'm like, wow. But what's neat is we're going to be able to share those with students. So students are going to be able to get involved and help these companies, right? And in turn, make Pittsburgh better and get some real learning experiences. So, that's something that, is important. The sales lab, being able to go in and have space where you can actually practice negotiating. So whether it's negotiating for a job or negotiating for salary, I've had female students, alums, tell me, Steve, I just wish I had been able to negotiate maternity leave, right? If I had been able to kind of do that, it would have better served me, when that wonderful time came. So everything we're doing is an eye towards trying to make our students better and make the curriculum more substantive. I don't know if that answered the question.
So it did. So in terms of, it wasn't my question, so I hope it answered the question. But in terms of the alumni, so when you speak specifically about the Sales and Innovation Lab, so obviously the students' first preference to kind of benefit from that. I know it's not open yet, and so, we're not going to hold you to anything, but is that something that our alumni community might be able to utilize, maybe from a sense of utilizing it for their own personal, like learning negotiating skills and practicing interviewing even virtually, or to maybe even serve as mentor is an overused word, but mentor in a sense to help these students like learn these skills. So if somebody works in HR, kind of could come back as an alumni to maybe help students.
Yeah, I think
possibility.
I think I think we are always interested in having alumni come back and do everything from shadow a student. So we've revamped our curriculum where all majors freshman year, there has to be some sort of a shadowing component. And that's the basic, 2 touch points, try to see what you do in an office, 20 hours over the course of a term. So having an alum who may be interested in doing that, having an alum who's interested in taking on an intern or a co-op, having an alum who just wants to come in and talk to a class, whether it's everything from, this is how you get a job at my company, or these are the things that I've learned that I think you need to be successful. Absolutely always an open door. And then as we build these, we'll call them assets. Yeah, we'd love to get alums involved. So whether it's utilizing our sales lab to better yourself, right? Using the technology we have to help you with role playing or negotiating, or I don't know, you need a conference room, right, to utilize, or a multi-purpose space. Those are things I'm confident we can figure out. If you're committed to the veteran community, you want to give back, come be a part of that. If you're committed to social justice, come be a part of that. Come engage in these conversations, or give us topics, or give us speakers that we can talk to. If you want to be on the leadership podcast to help downtown Pittsburgh, please let us know if you've got something you think can help, or somebody that might be of help. Our students need to talk to alums. They need to know they're on the right path, and they also just need to know how committed everybody is to the university. So anything and everything we will gladly accept. Amazing.
That's awesome. So next question, this is a really good one. With entrepreneurship on the rise, will there be more focus on encouraging or assisting entrepreneurs, such as consulting services and educational programs to assist with business plans, projections, etc.?
Yeah, we're going to look to really revamp our whole entrepreneurship offering. The V3 challenge was, one of our kind of first forays into this. Another thing we have is we're working hard with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Lower Hill development. So the Pens are charged with redeveloping the Lower Hill, essentially where the Civic Arena sat. And we've had conversations over the last, year and a half about trying to kind of be that educational anchor to help some of those small businesses that move in there. There will be some chain, quote unquote, restaurants and places, but the Penguins really want it to be Pittsburgh focused and based. So, excited that they're interested in, once again, having our students or faculty try to help some of these small businesses that, at some point, might not be till 22, 23, move into the Lower Hill footprint. So entrepreneurism, absolutely. Startups, yes. Whether or not we create an incubator or something like that, I don't know. I think right now it's trying to engage with startups, engage with entrepreneurs, and have them, be embedded into that capstone class. So our students are working on real companies for their business plan, and then continue to kind of grow our services. And then, absolutely. I would love to do some consulting. We have a little Roland School of Business Academic Academy that we created, where we have faculty that are out in companies doing lectures or symposiums on every imaginable topic. And I'd like that to also include kind of an entrepreneurism, focus. For us, we got to think about what do we do different. Pitt has one. Right. Duquesne has the Small Business Institute. Mm-hmm. What do we offer that can be unique? And those are the things we're kind of sorting through.
Awesome. Love it. So I'm going to go to a question that was submitted during the registration. So this question is about the co-op program. How has the co-op program gone given the COVID-19 restrictions? And have you found that employers are still willing to host these students, and have they been accommodating in terms of allowing remote work and flexibility, things of that sort?
Yeah, I think the fair answer is they've done the best that they can. It's not easy. It's certainly, as you know, if you've had an intern or were an intern, right, it's not easy for a company to manage a student, let alone remote. So we've absolutely lost opportunities. Mm-hmm. Companies have done the best that they can to try to keep them, and we do have a lot of opportunities on a remote basis. Mm-hmm. SAEM, Sports Arts Entertainment, that's the one, as you can imagine, has been hit the hardest. Right? And so, and I sent Lauren, I think you a couple of those links. So what Bob, Derda, and the team have done is they've kind of created these virtual internship seminars where, these are students that need to, you need an internship to graduate from SAM. So we have several students in their senior year who, through no fault of their own, just don't have an internship. But they need one to graduate. So Bob and his team have created a weekly series of connecting, a weekly webinar, just like this, of folks in the industry. And we're counting that toward their internship. So we just did the first one. It was with the Cleveland Cavaliers and their ticketing service. And it was, it was great. And the Cavs said, as soon as this is over, we have all kinds of jobs, right? So get ready, get signed up, because we're going to go on a hiring spree as soon as this is lifted. So that was last week. I know next week is, I think he's the CFO of out of St. Louis, the Kroenke Group.
Okay.
Is on. I think owns the teams there.
Yeah.
So that's another one. We're going to have the guy back that runs Mile High Stadium in Denver, talking about how do you get a stadium ready in COVID. So that's what we're doing. So companies have done the best they can. We have lost opportunities for sure. The biggest one is in SAM, and we've adapted with this virtual opportunity. Which at the end of the day, to be able to be exposed to people from all over the country, maybe there's a little silver lining.
Yeah. So with that, Steve did share, for all of you that are listening, Steve did share some information with me about that virtual internship. So whenever I send out my email after this event, you'll probably get it tomorrow, I will include that literature in there so you can kind of read it, you can kind of get a gist of what he's referring to. But it's really amazing and comforting to hear that, there are things still being done for these students and they're getting amazing opportunities. I mean, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's awesome. So, it's not like it's Lauren's hot dog shop. So it's pretty cool. So the next question I have here is just maybe an overarching general question about the Roland School of Business. So how is the Roland School of Business doing? And is the Roland School of Business social media team still running social, or is the staff handling it due to the pandemic?
Well, I think we're doing well. And we have our students handling our social media. Jenna is our student this term, and spoke to her today. So pretty much, all of our work studies are working remote. GAs are kind of a mix. It's really, for us, it's, if you live on campus, you're there, so come on up to the business school. But if you're taking your classes remote, we weren't going to terminate, of course, any work study or GA opportunities. We're just kind of dealing with it the best we can. And the same goes for our staff. I've told our staff that, the whole goal is to try to limit the number of people on campus. So if you don't need to be here, don't be here. And so we've all kind of figured it out, and we kind of do little shifts just so at least we have some coverage. But I'll tell you, the foot traffic has not been a lot, just because people aren't around. But no, our work studies are still engaged. They're still the ones doing social media. Our GAs are still engaged, albeit they're doing a lot more remote work than we're used to. Yeah.
That's awesome. So before I ask this question, actually, I'm going to, if anyone has any last minute questions, be sure to send them in now, because I want to be cognizant of everyone's time here. So think of your question and submit it, and we'll try our best to get to it. So looking ahead to the future, so are you anticipating any new academic programs within the next few years?
I would say no right now. We did that over the last year or so, was our major curriculum overhaul. So in the last year, we added sales and marketing. We added a new MIS program at the graduate level. We added a minor in finance. We added a minor in hospitality. And that was all new curriculum. So I don't foresee any in the future. I think what we need to do is we need to focus our energies on, driving enrollment into those areas. Particularly, hospitality, as you can imagine, is a tough one right now. But I think we really do have a good mix of curriculum. And that was a full all team effort, for the last year to get that up and running. And then with it, of course, you try to build some physical attributes, right? So with sales and marketing curriculum, you build out a sales lab. Those are the things that we're trying to do.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So this question is for our alumni board, but also for our alumni community. I'll speak to. So, is there anything that the Point Park University Alumni Association board or alumni community can do to best serve your programs and initiatives?
I think just continue to be active with us. Feel free to always reach out to me and let me know if you have an idea, if you have a suggestion, if you have a critical comment of what we're doing. So just, being active and engaged for all of us. Just that support is really what we're always looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a super fun one that really has nothing to do with anything, but I feel like you'll like it as a sports guy. So
yeah,
it's National Pierogi Day. I don't know if you were aware of that.
There's
There's still time left. It's only 6:53, so you can tease in.
Okay.
But do you have a favorite Pirates pierogi?
Well, I'm looking behind me because I was a pierogi for one day. And I had a little plush toy, but maybe it's up in my son's room, which he'd be very embarrassed about because, as you all know, he's 16. No, I was Potato Pete for a day. So it was years ago, and my old office was in PNC Park. And it was a Wednesday business matinee special. I think 8 people were at the game. And for whatever reason, they asked my office if we'd all like to eat the pierogies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was in my 20s, my gosh. Well, I don't think we went 10 yards without us all tackling each other, jumping on, and like we were fired. So yeah, I was Potato Pete for one day.
All right, so I can appreciate your preference.
Once again, I'm a lot.
Yeah. Did you fall when you were running, or did you?
I think I was tackled.
You were tackled. Okay, not by your own fault.
No.
All right. Well, this has been amazing. Charlotte said pierogi Steve. So maybe that'll be the next Pittsburgh pierogi. So I think that covers all of our questions. Any last minute thoughts or anything you want to share with everyone before we end this beautiful event?
No, just good to see some familiar names. You guys all know how to reach me. And whatever I can do to help, please let me know. And once again, don't be strangers. We love seeing you, and stay involved with all of us. And Lauren and Barbara and Stephanie, thank you for putting this together.
Of course, it's our pleasure. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight, for popping in. I will send you all an email tomorrow with some of the links and information about some of the things that Steve talked about tonight. But if you have any questions or anything else that you think of, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Steve directly. And have a great night.
Don't trust Sauerkraut Saul, I'm telling you.
Sauerkraut Saul.
He's a troubled pierogi.
Sketchy. Okay. I'm going to leave you all with that note tonight. Don't trust Sauerkraut Saul.
See you guys. Thank you.